What if the most powerful weapon in history was not a missile, a prison, or an army? What if the ultimate weapon was the power to decide what is real? George Orwell's 1984 is often remembered as a warning about surveillance. But for strategists and operational artists, it is something deeper. It is a study of a regime that turns society itself into a battlefield. Oceania is not simply a dictatorship. It is a permanent campaign system. Its objective is not temporary obedience. Its objective is total power forever. The party does not only want to control what people do. It wants to control what they remember, what they can say, what they can imagine, who they can love, what they fear, and finally, what they believe to be true. In strategic terms, the party's center of gravity is control over human consciousness. The operational environment of 1984 is Airstrip 1, formerly England, now a province of Oceania. The terrain is urban decay. The human terrain is exhaustion. Society is divided into three layers: the inner party, the brain of the system; the outer party, the administrative machine; and the proles, the majority, powerful in numbers but politically inactive. Scarcity is not a failure of the system. It is part of the system. Perpetual war consumes resources, justifies suffering, and keeps the population in fear and sacrifice. The enemy changes, but its function remains the same: to stabilize internal control. The party's grand strategy can be understood through ends, ways, and means. The end is permanent power. The ways are surveillance, propaganda, fear, historical revision, language control, social isolation, psychological pressure, and torture. The means are Big Brother, the Ministries, the thought police, telescreens, hidden microphones, public rituals, children trained to inform, and Room 101. Each part of the system has a purpose. The Ministry of Truth does not protect truth. It manufactures reality. The Ministry of Peace does not create peace. It sustains permanent war. The Ministry of Love does not offer love. It destroys the individual. The Ministry of Plenty does not create abundance. It manages scarcity. This is not a failed government. It is a successful machine of control. And its most important battlefield is information. In 1984, the past is not fixed. Records are rewritten. Facts disappear. Yesterday's truth becomes today's error. If the party controls the records, it controls memory. If it controls memory, it controls comparison. And if people cannot compare the present with the past, they cannot judge whether life has become better or worse. This is information warfare. But Orwell goes further. The party does not only control information. It controls language. Newspeak is one of the most important strategic weapons in the novel. Its purpose is not communication. Its purpose is limitation. If words disappear, ideas become harder to form. If the language of rebellion is removed, rebellion itself becomes harder to imagine. Newspeak is an operation against the future. It aims to create a generation that cannot think against the party because it no longer has the words to do so. Then comes doublethink. Doublethink is the ability to accept contradiction without mental resistance. It trains the citizen to surrender logic, deny what they see, and accept that truth is whatever the party says it is. This is more powerful than a simple lie. A lie still admits that truth exists somewhere. Doublethink destroys the need for truth altogether. For the party, victory means the individual no longer trusts memory, reason, or perception. Only the party remains. But the party also understands something every strategist must understand. Power is psychological. The human terrain matters. Fear, hunger, shame, loneliness, suspicion, and exhaustion become weapons. Family bonds are weakened. Romantic love becomes dangerous. Friendship becomes risky. Private thought becomes a crime. Even children become part of the security system, watching their parents and reporting signs of disloyalty. The party does not simply suppress emotion. It redirects emotion. Hatred is focused on official enemies. Desire is converted into political fanaticism. Fear becomes obedience. Loneliness becomes dependence. This is psychological operations on a national scale. Winston Smith is dangerous not because he has an army, He is dangerous because he remembers. He suspects that truth exists outside the party. He believes that the past matters. He believes that love matters. He believes that the human spirit may be stronger than power. That belief is his center of gravity. And the party knows it must be destroyed. Julia represents another kind of resistance. Her rebellion is personal, physical, and practical. She breaks rules, but she does not try to defeat the system. She wants private freedom inside a public prison. But private rebellion is not enough against a regime that seeks total control. Then there is O'Brien. O'Brien is not just a villain. He is the strategist of the system. He understands that killing Winston would be easy. But killing him is not the goal. The goal is conversion. The party must make Winston betray what he loves. It must make him reject his own mind. It must make him love Big Brother. That is why Room 101 matters. Room 101 is not just torture. It is the final battlefield. It is where the party identifies the one fear stronger than loyalty, love, pride, and truth. When Winston breaks, the party does not merely defeat his body. It captures his inner world. That is the final victory of Oceania. This is why 1984 remains so powerful. The party is not terrifying only because it watches everyone. It is terrifying because it wants to make surveillance unnecessary. It wants people to police themselves, betray their own memories, fear their own thoughts, surrender their own judgment, and finally, love the power that destroys them. For strategists, 1984 is a warning about the final form of political warfare, a war against memory, language, truth, and the independent mind. For operational artists, it is a model of integrated control. Information, language, scarcity, fear, surveillance, coercion, propaganda, and belief all synchronize toward one objective: the permanent defeat of the individual. George Orwell's 1984 asks one of the most disturbing strategic questions ever written. What happens when power no longer wants to rule reality, but to replace it? In 1984, the battlefield is not territory. The battlefield is truth. And the objective is the human soul.